I'm up.
Me too, Frank. I think I'm just stand on up to this.
Recording is started.
Okay. All right. We will proceed with the Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the
republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Roll call, please.
Alexander? Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Here.
Lewis? Nelson?
Here.
Thomas? Here.
All right. We will proceed I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Alexander?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Lentine?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Ursu?
Yes.
We will proceed with reports. Mayor, do you have a report?
Due to the lateness of the hours, I'm going to just let the department heads do their excellent reports and comment as we go along if there's any questions.
All right, thank you. Let's proceed with the first excellent report. Chief Newman.
Thank you, Council President Henry, Mayor Roche, members of the council, and members of our community. The first weekend of, or the week of October is Fire Prevention Week. So Fire Prevention Week takes place October 4th through the 10th, 2020. This year's campaign focuses on cooking fire safety. Home cooking fires are the leading cause of U.S. home fires, with nearly half, 49%, of all home fires involving cooking equipment. Unattended cooking is the watched. This year's Fire Prevention Week theme is Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. This year's focus on cooking safety is particularly timely. The public is generally opting to do more cooking and entertaining at home during this COVID-19 situation that we find ourselves in. This means that the potential for home cooking fires will likely increase as well. Our key message for this year's campaign, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, will include the following. Keep a close eye on what you're cooking. Never leave cooking unattended. Keep anything that can catch fire, like oven mitts, wooden utensils, food packaging, towels, and curtains, at least 3 feet away from your stovetop. Be alert. If you are sleepy or have consumed alcohol, don't use the stove or the stove top. During Fire Prevention Week, firefighters are going to try to get out into the community as they can through social distancing and safety message, as well as speaking about fire safety in general. So please remember, serve up fire safety in the kitchen. And that's fire safety. That's coming up the first week in October. I know that we're going to be off for the first week in October. On the COVID-19 front, just a brief update. Based on the information provided by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, as of September 18th, that was Friday, there are 10,739 lab confirmed, with 506 lab confirmed deaths. 433 confirmed cases of COVID-19 are in the 44143 zip code, which includes Richmond Heights, Highland Heights, and Mayfield Village. Looking at the graphics from the Board of Health, they do say that the cases are up compared to last week, and the fatalities are up compared to last week. The biggest age group demographic remains with the 20 to 29-year-olds, which account for 22% of all cases. 7% seem to have COVID-19 as compared to males at 43%. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Hey, what did you say you were going to do, Chief, the first week of October? Because it's Fire Safety Month or something.
Well, it's Fire Prevention Week, and what I'm going to be doing is serving up fire safety in the kitchen.
How do you serve it up in the kitchen? Are you just joking me, right?
Me personally, I don't cook.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have some things on the e-newsletter and on the board and stuff out there too to try to recognize this this occasion.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Police Chief Wetzel.
Council President Henry, Mayor Roach, members of council, and our listening public, all our personnel are continuing to be healthy, and we're still taking the provisions that we need to stay that way. I wanted to extend an appreciation to Don Korninski and his crew. The other day, they did a lot of roof repairs for us, took care of missing shingles, and our roof looks excellent. Thanks to them. I appreciate it. We're working on interviewing candidates at this time for part-time police officers. We've got really an outstanding number that have applied, which is really telling on the reputation of the agency. I think more than double the amount that we actually had for our full-time job opening last time, well over that. And also to keep in contact with some of our school kids, we're having a little art competition for the 4th and 5th graders at the elementary school. We want to have them draw a picture of our canine bolt. We sent them, and we're going to pick a winner, and we're going to share that artwork with you when we get it. But we're going to give them a little prize, and be kind of a fun thing for them to do, and it helps us keep in touch with the kids at school. And then I just wanted to encourage all our council members to encourage your constituents to report any blight conditions that they see. I know when I drive around, I see stuff, and we try to move on it. And I'm sure people that live in the community are noticing these same things. They need to recognize that they can call us for this, and we will funnel it to the right person, or we'll personally tell the person to take care of it. That'll conclude my report.
Madam President, question for the chief, Councilman Lentine.
Yeah.
Chief, you said you're seeking part-time police officers. Are you talking about auxiliary policemen, or are you talking about real full-time police officers?
They are certified police officers in a part-time role.
And that would be used to what, offset overtime and things like that, and sick time?
Yeah, they would, we kind of have to work around their schedules, but our goal is to have them fill in the areas where we need help. There's certain periods of time where our staffing can be low, the way these 12-hour shifts work sometimes. And so to avoid that, that's our goal, is to try to fill them in, put them in areas where they can be helpful. We want to have them do some of our outreach and recruitment, depending on the type of person we hire. That could be good for that, but that is one of the facets.
Thank you. You guys are your mic's off.
All right, I'll stop unmuting myself because it's not working too well. I have that attention span tonight. Is Jim Uranker next? Is he online?
I am here.
Thanks, Jim. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right, no problem. So thank you, Madam President, Mayor Roach, members of council and the community. I think we finally getting somewhere with Loganberry. We received 3 permits for 3 parking areas, A, B, and D. That's about half of the parking areas in the Loganberry Ridge complex. We fast-tracked the permits, got them started grinding the parking lot adjacent to B, or between B and C building. They found some unforeseen problems with the subgrade. They had a hog out approximately 3,000 square foot of subgrade, 8 to 10 inches. And that's for just B alone, because that's the only parking lot that they did. We've got a proof roll scheduled for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I think it's going to be really done well, and I don't think we're going to have an issue with that. And the other 2 parking areas are going to begin directly after that. I'll have Lee talk about the road programs coming through there also, right in front of that. So that whole corner, I mean, it should look a lot nicer, and hopefully they contract them for the rest of the parking lots, especially the one to the west of A building, which is this one's going to cost, because I think they had a pretty good idea that the subgrade was really in terrible condition. We also received a permit application for the main lobby glass for A, D, and E building, which I should be issuing those permits relatively soon. I have some small issues to resolve with them. They need the key fob them. We need the intercoms for the residents. I need some sort of resolution on that. I'm going to let them move forward with the lobby glass and let them come up with a solution for the intercoms for those buildings at a later date. Not that late, but shortly after. I told them not a year. We're going to come right out there and write you up a citation if I have to. I'll do whatever I got to do to get them in right. We also just fulfilled 2 large public requests for information. One from Remington Law Firm regarding the fatal fire at Loganberry Ridge Apartments, Building F, and the other was from Ulmer. We use OneDrive, by the way, Eloise, and it seems to work really good. OneDrive, we've been storing all of our docs on the OneDrive system. Getting them built in there takes a long time. Took us a while to do this, to get them all in there nice and tidy. But once they're there, and we could easily reduplicate a new request. So I would highly recommend storage on the OneDrive system. I think it's working for me really, really well right now.
Good. Good.
And I got one more item. We may, and I think Chardon Plaza, I got an architect for Mario, and I think that place, they're putting a roof on it. I was out there today. They've got a roof on it, and they have a designer on that job. And so hopefully we can get that part, which has bugged me for a long time, the parts east of Richmond Road, we can get those in much better condition than they have been in the past. And that's all I have for my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Madam President, Councilman Lentine, question for Jim.
Yes, please.
Jim, I noticed that the post office is putting a new roof on the post office. Did they take out a permit?
Yes, they did.
And when is that going to be completed? I saw them working on it 2 weeks ago, and I understand they were working on the back side just today. Was there a reason for the delay?
I'm not certain on why there's a delay. There may have been something. They actually didn't call me for the inspection or for a. It may have been overlaying it. I'll have to read the permit application. I think they're just overlaying the existing roof, so it's not a condition like some of these other roofs, like Loganberry Ridge in Chardon Plaza, where we actually got to check the deck and have an infrared scan done.
But they did take out a permit, correct?
They did take out a permit. I remember reviewing the permit.
Very good. Good, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think it's that Jim has done a commendable job at Loganberry in sticking and persevering with all the ups and downs of that whole process. Also, I think, I believe our prosecutor, Mike Serino, has also been doing yeoman's job there too. He's not in our meetings, of course, and we don't often recognize his efforts, but I'm certain that he's been very effective in this regard too, and maybe Jim can even comment on that a little bit.
Yes, Mike Cicero. Yeah, Mike Cicero and I are working very closely together, and he's been a great help. The last round of information gathering, which I was going to ask him if he maybe wanted to join us at the Planning and Zoning Committee of Council meetings so he could comment on some of the things that we found, but I haven't talked to him yet about that. But Mike's been very, very helpful, as well as Todd. Todd Hunt has been very helpful too. We've had conference calls with their, Loganberry now has a legal team on their side, and we talked to the regional managers, and together I think we're moving the ball forward. It's slow, but we're moving it forward. They're getting a designer for Building F. I wish they would move much, much faster, but they're very difficult to deal with. And I think they should just get the drawings for Building F and get it completed, and we can get that whole corner taken care of. But this is a good first step, and we'll see what happens moving forward. Hopefully they just keep it up.
Yes, indeed, Todd, that's for sure. I mean, Todd is pervasive in much of what the city does, and behind the scenes, I'm sure in a way in this one that we never talk about. We talk about all kinds of things with Todd, but you know, not very frequently talk about it in this context. And yes, I'm sure he's doing a great job for us. Thank
It's
you,
a group effort, that's for sure.
Jim, what's the status of the garage at Loganberry? It's been probably 5 months now since I talked about it. What's going on with the garage? Because it's still half a garage there.
Yeah, well, I got Bill Mangaluzzi. I talked to him about 2 weeks ago. Says that they had some issues with the roof trusses and the spans. So they were going to come back with a plan. This is from Bill Eberhardt. And they were going to deal with those roof spans. And I talked to him as early as, I think it was Wednesday of last week. So supposedly they're gonna get me plans on the repair of that garage. You're talking the garage
Absolutely.
between F
Correct.
and E building. Yep, that garage. Now I put an order out, an emergency order. I didn't really think they were gonna do anything about it, but if anybody gets hurt there, they're gonna have a serious legal problem, I think, because there's an order and a danger. Even Tom had a complaint about children playing near that garage.
Right.
So there's not much more I can do. I'm hoping that they just come in with a plan, like could be tomorrow. I mean, with Bill. I've talked to him for a long period of time about those garages.
And one more, the property 1774 on Sunset. I see that it had a building permit issued on 10/20/2007, and the
2017.
2017, correct.
Right. And yeah, there's with that building permit, they're allowed with the building code. They're allowed. I've had. Do you recall that? Do you know the house on Highland Road that's been under construction for the last 15 years or 20 maybe even? I mean, we all know this house, right? It's the same thing. As long as they're doing any amount of work, that permit is valid, and it can go on. And it can take them 10 years. It could take them 20 years, as long as they're doing the work.
Got it. So the
A
resident.
little bit at a time.
Got it.
We did have an issue though, Kim, with the neighbors, and they had
Absolutely.
mud and everything, and dirt all over the side yard.
The front of
We
the
did
house
that
had
cleaned
bricks and everything. At the front
Yeah,
yard.
it was a mess, but we did get that cleaned up. That was probably in 2018 or 19, I think.
No, I
It
have
was?
pictures. It's still a mess.
Yeah,
There's
it's
bricks,
not. It's
so
the
it's not
grass is
cleaned
not
up.
planted.
Excuse me?
The lawn's not planted.
No.
The grass is not planted. It's all.
No,
sprayed.
I think you should probably take a drive by. There's pipes in front, there's bricks in front, and there's a pile of dirt that's probably 5 feet high. And based on what the neighbors are saying, there's no construction that has taken place in that home for the last 5 months or 6 months. They don't see any activity, and no one's.
Yeah, it's hard for us to prove whether or not they did or they didn't. The minute we do that, Kim, the minute they're going to say, no, we were there. We put a nail in the wall. They know the rules, these contractors.
Did you receive the photos that I sent you?
Yeah, I received those.
Okay, so that's the front yard.
Yeah, right. It's a construction site. They were doing waterproofing there. They dug up the whole basement all the way around.
Correct.
And they refilled it with stone. And what you're seeing is the spoils from the dig. on the front yard, which they still obviously have a lot of work to do.
So it can actually stay like that for another 3 years?
Stay there for as long as they're doing some work, and that looks like they were doing some work. That's relatively fresh. It's not weeds growing 4 feet tall. You know, if I saw weeds growing 6 feet tall, you know what I mean, I would know, or not 6 feet, but you know what I'm saying, really, really tall grass where it looks like nobody's been there, but it did look like somebody has been there recently.
Okay. I'll drive by. I drive my bike there. That's my Sunday route. And,
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the same.
I know your frustration, Kim. I'm as frustrated as you. I would love it to just work perfectly all the time. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, we've had issues with that job. I get it. I've had issues with that, trying to get them to clean the neighbor's side yard, trying to get contact the contractor. And I think they had some kind of issue with the partnerships, and it was a business dealing. And I think there's more to it than the work not getting completed the way it should be done. But that was one of our exterior inspections. So they had basement waterproofing issues, and they had a lot of exterior issues, and they're moving forward. Sometimes it takes a while.
Well, it's actually transferred out of the business name into another business. If you
Another entity, right. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Anything else for Jim? I think he can take one more blow real hard now.
That was mild.
Hey, that was mild. What you got, huh? Okay. We will go on to Recreation Director Rick Dula.
All right, thank you, Madam President, Mayor Roach, members
Wait
of
a
council,
second,
our
wait a
audience.
second, hold it. Wait a minute. You passed up.
We'll get to him after recreation, Frank. Come on.
Oh, you want to go to?
No,
Oh, okay.
hey,
All
we
right.
don't hear any. We don't want anything difficult right now. We skip. We
want a little levity. On my first issue, my first point is the Indians, the bottom of the 10th on a walk-off homer by Jose Ramirez. So that's start my report.
All right. Very
Good
good.
news.
Very good.
Those of you who weren't watching while the meeting was going on.
Go ahead, Rick. I'll go back to Jim. Rick, go ahead. I made a mistake, but Rick, go ahead with your report.
All right, thanks. Item number 2, the staff and the administration in the mayor's office are looking at all the options to come up with a policy for our trick-or-treating on the 31st of October. So I think we can come up with that that coincide with the governor's guidelines that he released late last week. So I'm confident that we will have something that'll keep most everybody happy in the city of Richmond Heights. It'll probably come out next week or the week after at the latest. And then I will let Brian Gleiser touch base on the last item about our tour today of the west side of the airport property. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Brian,
You're welcome.
That now or what? You gonna tell us about that?
Sure, I can talk about that. We just did a cross-country driving tour, if you will, to look at Mayfair Lake. It was the mayor, myself, Rick Dula, and Rachel Gardner, just to take a look at the property the county owns, as well as the 9 acres that the city owns, to just get a handle on what could be done there in terms of trails or, passive recreation. It's a phenomenal amount of land. It's actually quite beautiful back there when you get back into it. And then the mayor and I also crossed Richmond Road and toured back behind the Kiwanis Lodge, thinking about possible walking paths that could connect from all the way from 444 to Richmond Road in terms of accessing public transportation or building additional walking paths, bike paths. So, this is just, we're thinking out loud and just spent 2 hours today taking a look at this wonderful property that's in Richmond Heights.
Cool.
I have a question.
All right. Well, thank
I
you.
have a question.
We'll get back to you.
Madam President,
Okay, go with your.
what about,
Okay,
what,
got it.
what about our Kiwanis Lodge? Are we remodeling that? When is that starting?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, the end of September. We're at the end of
well,
September.
I can do, you want me to do my report?
No,
now,
I
or-
don't. Please hold up.
Got it.
We get back to him. That he was just finishing up the other guy's report. We're gonna go back to finance and then we'll go back to economic development. Thank you, okay?
Good.
All right, so, Mr. Finance, Jim Technic, will you go on here and give us your report?
Yeah, my report's brief. It seems like there's more excitement in the other departments, so I'll keep mine brief. I would like to take this opportunity to announce that Richmond Heights resident Jennifer Hawkins has joined the Richmond Heights finance staff. Jennifer is our new accounts receivable / accounts payable specialist. The finance staff looks forward to tapping into her expertise that Jennifer brings with her to our department. And don't be shy and stop by the finance department to introduce yourself to Jennifer. And this concludes.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Jim? Okay, then we will go on down to Brian Glazer. Now, Brian, you can dance and sing and tell us everything.
Oh, it's just one item I was going to report on, and that was the Kiwanis Lodge. So the final construction drawings have been submitted to the building department for plan review. We're expecting that to be relatively quick. And so our expectation is that we will be issuing the bid package next week. And that requires a 2-week publication time. So we're looking at the beginning of October to actually hopefully award the contract, assuming no bids come in on budget. So we're still pretty much on schedule.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes,
he didn't dance or sing. Are you going to write him up?
No.
I'm writing them up right now. Yeah.
Another time when there's more time.
I've seen him dance and sing, and that's not pretty.
No, it's not pretty at all. I can vouch for that.
You guys are doing better than me at this point in hour. All right, so.
Thank you.
City Engineer Lee Courtney.
Picking up where Jim left off, I have advised our road program contractor is scheduled to move on to Loganberry Thursday of the presence of the apartment parking lot contractor. And when we have the proof roll tomorrow, I will advise their contractor of our contractor's plans. And traffic there may be a little confused for a while, but hopefully they won't both hit critical points at the same time. Our road program contractor from there will move to the other work, and in the midst of that, fold in what they can on the Richmond Road water main break restoration.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Lee?
Yes, Lee, the trucks were out there today in the parking lot, and it was a traffic jam. They had no signs up, but it was really a traffic jam. Even the bus couldn't get by. On Loganberry, the parking lots.
According to our meeting this morning, the chief reported that there was an accident there where somebody drove into a dumpster. And that made things from bad to worse.
Got it.
I was also out there yesterday, and at certain times when the grinding machine got near the road, that was pretty bad too.
Yes.
But hopefully it'll be short-lived, because if they pass the proof roll tomorrow, by tomorrow evening, hopefully they.
I was just upset. I couldn't get by. I couldn't ride my bike.
I was there 3 different times yesterday, and I will say I didn't see anybody get really irate. They just seemed to roll with it.
All right.
Which is a good thing.
Yes. Thank you so much. I was wondering.
Add something to that too. Remember, Lee, we had that in your plan review, traffic control, which they seemed to ignore a little bit of that, the traffic control portion of the. which we were fast tracking this, Kim. We wanted them to get it done. We didn't want any excuses for cold weather. So we were approving, you know, getting them approved, but
Yes.
we had everything worked out.
I'm just happy that some work is getting done up there.
You?
You got a lot of
project.
I am so happy. The only thing I can't do now is ride my bike that way, so I have to kind of get in the car and drive. But I'm so thankful. I'm thankful.
Those are going to be concrete aprons too over there.
Okay. Thank you.
And a lot of concrete curbs too.
Thank you.
There's been a lot of progress made because when we had our Zoom meeting with the parking lot contractor yesterday, we learned a whole lot of things we didn't know prior.
That's good. Thank you, guys.
Okie dokie. Thank you all. Service Director Donald Krasinski.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to let everybody know that the playground over at the community park is done, and the sidewalk has been completely done, filled in with topsoil. Grass is growing already. I would like to make a suggestion at the next, I'll make a suggestion at the next Service and Rec meeting. There's one more section of asphalt there that actually butts up to that memorial paver block, small section there by the playground. I'd like to take that asphalt out of there eventually and put concrete in there and just complete the whole project and make it look all nice and uniform. So I'll be giving some specs on doing that in the future. Also, we finished painting the City Hall building and doing all the external repairs to the rotted wood that was around near the kitchen area. And so that's done. We had some roof issues like the police, Chief Wetzel mentioned at the police nap, but we also found the same kind of rotting issue going on with the facial units around the back of the police department. And so we're going to be fixing those up along with two of their doors. They're one for the Sally Port and one for their hazmat garage area. We're going to be reinforcing the bottom sections of the door. And then I'd also like to thank Todd Hunt and his office for their assistance on a tree issue. We had a resident on Chardon Road, Mrs. Brenda Parks, who had an ash tree behind her and a resident behind her on Beverly Hills that branches were falling off and destroyed her fence, her wooden fence. And we spent, I would have to say 6 to 8 months trying to get this resident, or actually the landlord, to take down this large dead ash tree. And with Mr. Hunt's help in his office, we were able to send them a letter and convince the landlord to eventually take the tree down. And Todd, I'd like to say that the tree's down and Mrs. Parks is going to be putting up her new fence, and she won't feel like she has to stay in her house. She likes sitting on her patio deck, and now she can do that. And it took a while, but we worked together as a team and it worked out very well. We went through the whole process of everything, an arborist coming out, declaring the tree dead. And the resident, she was very nice. Got to know her very well. I spent a lot of time talking with her.
There's a certain absentee landlord that's not very happy with me.
Yeah, he's not, but that's too bad. But it was for the resident that had a safety issue going on, and I was very happy and that we could get it taken care of, and your office was instrumental in that. So I want to say thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Also, I'd like to thank the mayor and the service department for this weekend. We had a constituent who called about the deer, and it was a Sunday. And you know how many hours the mayor worked? Infinite number of hours. Don't let him remind you. And I called him. He sounded very tired, but he still took my call. And he says, "Don't worry, Eloise. We've already sent this, service department. They've gotten the deer already." So I really appreciate that, because you know, they were told the deer was going to be there all over the weekend, but the service department went out there and the mayor made that call. So I really do appreciate that. That was like great teamwork with, you know, the mayor and his department. So thank you guys, all of you, for getting that done. And I made that lady feel much better. I heard Juanita.
Certainly welcome and thank you. And yeah, they called Juanita, they called me, called Ari, called the dispatch, called a few other. There was over 15 calls. But we also had a brief, during a session in our staff meeting, we hopefully resolve this a little bit better. So if we have a health and safety hazard with a deer, I think what happened is the deer maybe was not really next to the road, and I think the police kind of pulled it out because we were going to try to pick it up later. But anyway, that's one of the procedures is getting the deer out next to the road to get it picked up, but not necessarily in the middle of the weekend. But anyway, hopefully we'll get that organized to be able to get that happening on its own more quickly. So we had a couple of items that the chief reviewed with the dispatch to try to improve dispatch's response. We had another item too that we resolved, I believe, is overnight parking. We had a senior that didn't really know how to get online to do the overnight parking, and I think the dispatcher didn't understand that very well and kind of gave her instructions of how to get online, which she wasn't going to be able to do. Anyway, we resolved that, so hopefully the dispatcher will take care of the senior people with needs for overnight parking. You know, we have that online system now that you can put in your own information and get a dispensation for overnight parking in the emergency.
Good, thank you.
I wanted to thank Don as well, and it was Saturday. So thank you, Don, because she was blowing my phone up.
Well, we set down, the policy is going to be from here on out. We're a service department. We're supposed to service the city residents and their issues when they pop up. Whether a deer is on a Friday night or a Saturday or a Sunday, they're going to be getting in touch with me, and I will dispatch one of our guys to go out and pick it up, whether it's with a truck or a wheel loader or whatever, so that the deer is not out there. In the wintertime, it's a different story. We don't have the big issues with it because it's not hot and it doesn't do much damage to the deer, but we are the service department. We're going to take care of the issue from now on. You should not get those calls. And if you do, you need to call the police department and they will contact me personally.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your help on that one, both of you guys. All right, this is time for audience comments. Audience, if you have any comments, keep them to 2 minutes. And if it's your comments are a repeat of the last guy, just give us the part that's the difference. So, audience, any comments?
Yes, this is Pat Ackerman.
Yes, thank you.
I wanted to commend you, Madam President, on the attention you're planning to give to the impact of silence. And I wish that you would add to your list for consideration 2 things. The first one is, what happens when publicity goes out about Bell Oaks that talks about the benefits to the city, and that information is not correct, but there is no response? So that's one. And the other is, what happens when residents write to their council people and get no response? If you would just add those to your list as you're considering the impact of silence, it would be appreciated.
I sure will. Well, I don't know when no one has not been responding in terms of residents, other than myself not responding to some of those letters that I've received from school board. And I will say, when I did not respond, it's because we had 3 meetings, and each meeting, every word I said, it seemed, or anything anybody had said was distorted. Just like, you know, as I said earlier, how you guys are accusing the other person of just distorting the words, and I truly can say the only thing I looked at is at the ads, and I just browsed over those ads. So my point is, when people start distorting stuff, then I have been silent with Nanika, but otherwise, everybody else I have responded to in regards to when they call me or they want something. So, or else we read their letters, with their comments. They said, oh, don't do this and don't do that. And then we did respond. And I will get that same response. I had a pet answer. Now, you guys probably didn't like that answer. My answer is, and I think the council had agreed with me, is that and when it comes to this point deal and any other deal, we are looking out for the benefit of the city. And that includes everybody. That includes the schools, that includes constituents, includes me, includes you, includes everybody. So, and that was the answer. We did at least say that. I can't go on back and forth with these 20-page letters that I get from everybody line by line, because I don't have that kind of time to do that. As the mayor said, he work all day and all night. So do I. And otherwise, I do. I've given at least that statement to those letters that were read. When somebody sent us letters, a lot of us had letters, and they were forwarded. We read them. So I don't know what other people are doing. Like I say, for me, when I talk about my lack of accountability. And I will continue to be silent if people keep distorting my words when I say something. I don't put things in writing when I see people twist it all around. So that's the whole thing. I go toe to toe to anybody face to face, but I'm not going to give anybody an audience to fight with. When people had 2 weeks to think about how they want to beat me down. You can beat me down all you want. I don't have to respond to beat downs. So that's my whole thing. And I felt like we had a whole bunch of beat downs when people just thought about stuff. And then I thought they also said things that were not true. So I'm getting past my 2 minutes. So I'm done with that one. But we'll take those things in consideration.
Madam Chair, what I would like to add is I make sure I respond to all my residents. And not only do I respond to them by phone, I knock on their door. So I do that. I respond. I can't speak for anyone else.
Me neither. So anybody else want to defend yourself? Or
I respond as well.
All right. So and again, like I say, we can only pass the words, but I cannot make anybody do their job. So we can all take the feedback into consideration. But I also think that a lot of other people, there's some responsibility goes back to some of the messengers to us. Everybody wants to be perfect. God didn't make me perfect. I admit it first. So I can work on myself, and I think all of us will work on ourselves. But I think some of our constituents can work on themselves too, because it's easy to criticize us for our $2 hour job and tell us what we should do and how we should do it better. So you can see I'm getting real late. So I will take what you said in consideration, but I want everybody else to take in consideration too, what they're saying to us. We work hard at doing this cheap $2 job. Anything else from the audience? All right then. Didn't mean to shut everybody down, but I'm really wanting everybody to think about what you're saying to me too. We'll go on to old business. We have none. New business. I am too hungry.
Resolution 90, 2020, introduced by Henry, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an addendum to the agreement with Gateway Consultants Group Incorporated for additional financial and development consulting services for the proposed Bell
As we
Oaks
said
development
earlier,
project.
we're looking at alternative financial engines that Deal Point could consider, before we go into making any decisions. So we extended a contract to our consultant, Mr. Chima and Associates, to investigate that. Entertain a motion or any comments.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second the motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second the
Second.
motion.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Resolution 90, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 91, 2020, introduced by Ursu, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Software Solutions for software services.
Yes, Madam President, I'll just briefly comment on this piece of legislation and resolution number 92, 2020. Both of these were reviewed favorably by the Finance Committee and both spoken of favorably during our caucus. We will just have them on first reading this evening. And Mr. Technip, our Finance Director, mentions that he's under no time constraints to have these. And so 3 readings is good for both these pieces of legislation.
All right, thank you. We're going to hold that one. 92, please.
A resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with James G. Zupka, CPA Incorporated for financial data conversion gap services.
Same for this one, Madam President. We will read it and go on to the next reading and the 3rd reading.
Thank you very much.
Okay, resolution 93, 2020. Introduced by Lentine, first reading, a resolution accepting a coronavirus emergency supplemental funding grant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety's Office of Criminal Justice Services.
Madam President, this resolution tonight will grant us $2,965.56 for the purpose of acquiring additional cleaning supplies and personal protective equipment necessary to protect. The Safety Committee of Council recommends for passage, and I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second it.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Resolution 93, 2020 passes unanimously.
Resolution 94, 2020. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Stryker Medical Incorporated for the inspection and servicing of certain division of fire life-saving
Madam
equipment.
President, this also has been discussed in the Safety Committee of Council. As the title suggests, it extends service to certain fire and life-saving equipment. It's going to cost us $12,240 for, I believe, for 4-year contract. And with that being just very light highlights, perhaps Chief Newman, if he's still with us, may want to comment further. But other than that, the Safety Committee of Council is recommending for passage.
Yes, Councilman Lentine, that's exactly what it's for. We have 2 cardiac monitors known as LifePak 15s. That's vital medical equipment that's used on about 90% of all of our calls. This will provide service and support and maintenance for these 2 devices for a period of 4 years, which is through October 5th, 2024. And in total, it's $12,240 for the 4-year period, with funds to be drawn out of the ambulance billing fund. It was budgeted.
Thank you, Chief. I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
I think Mark wanted to say something. Can't hear you, Mark. You frozen, Mark.
Just move ahead. Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Alexander,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Lentine,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Ursu.
Yes.
Oh, Resolution 94, 2020 passes unanimously.
Okay, Resolution 95, 2020, introduced by Henry, first reading. A resolution authorizing an agreement with PC Alternatives LLC for additional information technology support services for the city.
We're going to hold this on the first reading. Is there any more correspondence or legislation?
I do not have any.
All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Nice job tonight, Madam President.
Well, thank you. Some would not say that, but have a good night.
Madam President, I also want to just say that I thought you did an outstanding job expressing our concerns tonight. I know it was most difficult for you, along with the rest of us. I think that the message got across. Hopefully it got across properly, and I agreed with what you said, and I'm really proud of you to represent us in that way. I want to thank you personally very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
You're here.
Thank you. Well, I just hope that we can open some pathways. I think it was a good opportunity for us to speak what we felt as, and I really spoke how I felt. So hopefully we will never have to go back to that depth again. I don't know how we'll resolve all this, but one way is to just open conversation. The second thing is don't assume. That's what they always said, don't assume.
That's why we get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. So that's just it. So anyway, I appreciate, $2 an hour. $2 an hour. We get to take all kind of stuff all night long.
That's because you make more than we do.
Right. Well,
It's only
Good
a
night,
buck and a
everyone.
half for council people.
yeah. All right.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night,
Good night,
guys.
John
Have a
Roy.
good